Okay guys, just a quick update with Bitcoin. So look, I'm going to take a little mini vacation. So I'm going to make sure that you have everything you need to know. All right, all of your key support and resistance levels, what I'm expecting, how I'm expecting this to play out, different scenarios, so you know what to expect depending on what happens. I'm going to go through and show you some calls in Discord. I know people probably skip that part, but it's important that you understand how I can predict these moves, how they played out, so you can understand how this is going to play out going forward. Guys, I've been reading some of the comments, and some of you, I do appreciate the support. I've seen some nasty comments, and I guess, that's just how it is. But I'm not here to trick anybody. I'm just here to show you what I think is possible and what can play out. And again, guys, look, if you want to support me, look, the last 4 videos, I've just turned off ad revenue. They don't pay that much anyways, and I figured you probably just would rather not see ads, so I'm not doing ad revenue. If you do want to support me, there's 3 ways you can do it. This is the video I put up for BitGet. If you want to learn how to trade, of course, my link to sign up for BitGet is pinned in the first comment description. If you're located in the US, BingX and CoinCatch is a great option for you. If you do use my links pinned in the first comment and description, that is one way to support me. The other way is you can sign up and get access to these charts. I do have stocks, I have Bitcoin and altcoin charts, and I do have tutorials teaching my charting methods so you can create these charts for yourself. In the last video, I gave you some targets. I said it was possible we could push up to 35,000. We did push up to close to 36,000. Guys, it is about liquidity. You need to follow the heat maps. We're going to cover this as well. I told you next support level was around 34,153. If that breaks, next support level is 33,800. Now, there's a reason why I don't think we're going to drop yet. I think we have some more upside. I want to explain why this is the case. Now, in Discord, again, I will be keeping people updated in Discord, so if you want to sign up and get access to these live charts, you also get access to Discord where I'll keep you updated. Now, this was yesterday, and guys, I just want to show you how I play the charts and help you guys know where to long and short. This is pretty much for swing trading, all right? So I said your current resistance is 35.5K, all right? We pushed above it. That's where we got that wick above. People in the comment sections were going nuts. You were wrong. We pumped. Guys, it's about the liquidity. They pushed it up, they took it out, and as we came back down below, I said your resistance is 35,546. And you can see we came down from that point. We got rejected. So you short 35,000 with a stop above. And I said your next support, your next major support is 34.4K, all right? If we get above 35K, then expect 35.5K. Notice, and I'll cover the Dow too. This is a very key level at 34,000 on the Dow. Remember, the indices follow each other. Notice we came down, right? 34,000, we actually went just a bit lower, but 34,400 was where I entered my long. And I was talking about the heat maps. And you can see, we're going to cover this red ring. This is also important as well. But notice we got a bounce, right? We got a bounce right here, right off support. Pushed back up, and your resistance was 35,000. And then there was a well alert. You need to pay attention to this. You can see right here, 7,000 BTC was transferred to Bitfinex. And because of that, we were also following, and we're going to cover this too, there was a trend line that was resistance. 7,000 BTC was just transferred to Bitfinex to be sold, which would send the price down. And that's why I said waiting for orange. This, and again, the heat maps will cover this as well. Because that much BTC was transferred, it made sense we would drop down to 34.1K or down to around 34.2K. And you can see right here, I said this is like watching effing paint dry. 7,000 BTC, and it's all they can muster because it was having a hard time breaking below a certain point. I said I know they can knock this out around 34.2K. And that did play out. We dropped down to 34.1K or something like that. And I'm going to cover all of this. So the reason I don't think, and this I'm going to cover also, there's 2 possible scenarios. I'm in a long hedge right now because until we get below 34K as resistance, I think it's possible we could push back up. So let me cover all of this. Again, I will keep you guys updated in Discord, but for this video, I just want to make sure you have as much information as possible, okay? So first of all, and I made a post about this in Discord. This trend line right here was our resistance. We just pushed above it, all right? So your first resistance to watch, and this matches on multiple charts. This is around 35,000. If we get above the 35,000, hold as support. Well, I'm sure your next target's above. But this looks bullish. Also, if you've noticed, we're going to cover as well, the DXY has been dropping. And the Dow is at a very key resistance. And if you'll notice up here, and we'll cover this, just remember everything I'm saying, all right? So right here, let's see the Dow. This is what I was talking about. Pre-market trading had us right up at 34,000. That's where we're at now. If we get above that and hold support, we have more upside for the indices, which means probably have more upside for Bitcoin. Okay, so we broke above this resistance, and that is bullish up to 35,000 for now. This is the A1 chart if you have access to the charts. This is the H1 chart. Let me give you some key support resistance levels to pay attention to. So your next key resistance, a lot of charts showing 35,000 is your key resistance. If you get above that, I'll show you targets above. Your current support right now to pay attention to, guys, is right around 34,453. Let's just call it 34,500. We do have targets below, but again, until we break a key support level, I don't think we're going to go lower to that point. I think it's going to take a lot of selling pressure to get below 34K. That is why I'm going to stay long until 34K becomes resistance. Now, this next chart I'm going to cover, this is probably the most important chart. This is the newest chart I created, the Bitstamp 3.0 chart. I published this on October 29th. I just want to show you how accurate it's been. Notice we pushed up. All right, so we pushed up. Well, we got a rejection here. We came back down this resistance. Now, I told you we were in this pattern. And because we broke up from this pattern, people got upset. Well, that's what happens, guys. You support and resistance levels break. But the thing is once you broke above this point, right? Well, I told you your resistance levels, are these lines. That's what these fib channels were for. But notice we came down. We got rejected right here at 35K. We came down. We found support at 34K. We pushed back up. The point you short was this fib channel line at 35K. And now we're at support. We dropped all the way down to 34,150. Again, check out well alerts. When you see a bunch of BTC transferred to be sold, like 7,000 BTC transferred to Coinbase, likely they're going to drop the price. If you see, $250 million worth of USDT transferred to Binance, likely we're going to get a pump. But the reason I say be long here, again, I'm not going to close my long hedge until we get below, let's say 39,800 and 34K becomes resistance. The reason for this is because I think we have some more upside, and I'll show you these two scenarios. But you can see how accurate this chart's been so far. So this is the chart, and I would like to point out there is a ring here, and the reason I'm bringing this ring up, I mentioned this in a previous video. Let me give you these support resistance levels. Obviously, these change over time. These lines are at an angle. So your first resistance, and as I said, guys, all of these charts are showing 35K is your next major resistance. This right here shows around 35,100. So this would be the next point to short. If you get above 35,000, all right, the next point you'd want to put in a short would be around 35,627. If we get above that, all right, the next point you'd want to enter a short is around 36,385. And I can let me zoom out and show you. If you see the way I create these charts, you'll understand why these are such important levels. Right here, you can see if I bring this line all the way back, right? Actually, I don't have a line there, so let's put a line here. So where I said 36,000, let's say 36,385. If I bring a line back, look how price respects this line. It was support and resistance back here, and it was a lot of resistance and support back here. So we know price is moving in this direction following this fib channel. So we know that if we push up, that is an ideal point to short. Not only because we have a fib channel line there, right? I'm not saying we have to push up. I'm giving you the targets to play. You can be patient and wait to hit that target. Again, this is a Bitstamp 3.0 on the 2 hour. But again, the reason why this is an important target, right? This is right at this point is around 36,500, close to it. I would like to point out that this ring, all right, this ring right here, and I made a video about this. Let me turn off the Bollinger Band so you can see this. All right, so you'll notice what happened right here, right? This is pretty much the top. This red ring I'm referring to right here. Notice price pushed up, right? We just kept pushing up. We went sideways. We pushed up. Notice once we hit this ring, the pivot was to go sideways. Now we did move down the ring. We hit support. We pushed back up. We were just chopping. All right, we even pushed up again. But the point is when we hit this ring, the pivot was from going up to sideways. That is why this next ring is very important, and these targets I'm giving you, you need to pay attention to. So it's very likely, and again, I'm going to give you possible scenarios, all right? But it's very possible that we could push up more. And if we do, all right, and this is one scenario, we could push up, get rejected, go a little higher. But it's very possible this could be, when I say top, I don't mean we can't go higher. I just mean that's it for the major pumps. We could move down this ring. We could get another push up. But I do think we are pretty much top to come down. So pay attention to these levels. These are your most key levels above, all right? 35,000, your most key resistance above. And then obviously 35,600 around that area. But you know, if you're waiting, if you short 35K, we could drop from there. But if we do push up to, let's say, 36,500, that would be an ideal point to enter short. Make sure you have a stop above. But this ring does show that it's likely this could be a point that we can move down, go sideways, and chop. Now, I mentioned before that this blue ring, now I'm not going to spend too much time on these rings. I'm just going to cover it one more time. Go back, watch previous videos. I'd give you more in-depth analysis. This blue ring, all right, this blue fib circle, this next ring, we have never, ever crossed one of these rings and not pumped, all right? We are a good ways from this ring, but if we cross this blue ring, the odds are that we're going to get one hell of a pump, all right? So that is a bullish call. That being said, if we start moving down and we cross, hold on, and we cross this orange ring down here, statistically, every time we cross one of these orange rings, we get a major dump. So again, it depends when we make contact and which one we cross first. But I just want to give you the possible scenarios. And again, your next key support, you know, before I close my long hedge, all right, is if we break below 40K and 40K becomes resistance. Again, this was that ring I was talking about. This is just another chart showing it. Notice price pushed up. Let me get my brush tool here. Notice price pushed up, right? Pushed up, pushed up. We finally hit this ring, and that's when things changed and it went sideways and down. I think it's very possible that's going to play out here. Now, we could push up more. This orange right here, you can see this. Let me get a little marker, arrow tool. This right here, this orange line, this is the top of a large rising wedge. And it just so happens that price target I gave you is right where this ring is in the top of this wedge. So that could be the top around 37,500. So ideal point to short with a stop above. Does not mean we have to go that high. I'm just saying that that is a target to watch. But it does show, based on this chart, that this red ring could be the point that we top out, start going sideways and down. And then depending which one of these rings we cross, depends on which way we go. I still believe if we cross this orange ring below this blue ring, we're going to crash. If we cross this blue ring, all right, above this orange ring, we are going to pump and I will go long. This is the Bitstamp 3.0 chart, the one I just showed you, but on the 1 day instead of the 2 hour. And I was telling people in Discord not to go short, all right? Not until we break below, all right? Let me make this green. Green means long. So not until we break below 33,963. When that becomes resistance, I will close my long hedge, all right? I'm in a short with a long hedge. I will close my long hedge when this becomes resistance, expecting more downside. So for instance, if we break below this point, and we come down and this becomes resistance, this means we have more downside. And that next downside target, I'll give you that target here. That next downside target is right around 32,657 down to 32,445. Take note, that is close to where the center Bollinger Band is on the daily. All right, so that's your downside target too long. It is very possible we could push all the way back up. You can see what's going on here. The meat of the candle is right below this resistance level. So if we do push up, all right, it's possible that we could start something like this, right? So if we break 33,963 as resistance, all right, your next target potentially is down around 32,400, okay? However, as long as we are above 34,000, it's going to take a lot of selling pressure to break 34,000. There's a lot of liquidity there. So it's possible, we already dropped this low. So we're pushing up now, so we could push back up, right? Do something like this. Come back up, test around 35,700. At this point, we could move down the ring, or it's possible, we could do something like this. We could cross it, we could push up, but I do think this pretty much would call the top to potentially start coming down, and then we see what happens, whether we cross this ring and we have more upside, or we cross this ring and have more downside. Pay attention to the heat maps, guys. I just made a post in Discord about a well alert. There was quite a bit of a BTC transferred to Coinbase. Obviously, that's to be sold. But what I want to show you here, if we do push up, take note that you've got liquidity up here around 36,000, right? A lot of liquidity. If we're going to have a major dump at some point, it just makes sense. Exchanges, they want to, market makers, wells, they want to send price up to take out this liquidity. That's why I'm saying 36,500 is a great short entry if we push up that high. They'll take out this liquidity around 36K. I don't think they can take out this 34K yet because there's so many buy orders here. Every time they send it down, it starts pushing back up. All right, so again, I think it's very possible we could push up, take out 36K. Once all of that liquidity is taken out, then we start coming down and taking out all of this liquidity below. So again, that's why I'm saying, I'm making it very, just want to make sure you understand this. Until we break, let me find the chart, until we break below, all right, below 33,950, until that becomes resistance, I would stay long. That being said, if we get up to, let's say, 36,500, if we move sideways and go up 35,000, let's say 36,000, that'd be an ideal point to short. Obviously, you want to keep a stop above a certain point. But again, your scenarios are, we break 34K, that becomes resistance, we're coming down to 32,450 around that area. If that holds, which I think is more likely it will, because they want to take out that liquidity at 36,000, potentially we're going to push back up. Something like this will play out. We could go a little bit higher, but I do think that is pretty much the top. And again, we'll see what happens when we cross these rings. The DXY has dropped down. Take note, DXY is close to support. All right, DXY dropped down from 106 to 106.5 to 105. All right, if the DXY breaks below 105, that's a very key support level. This is a pattern we're in right now, this channel. So we're at support, not to mention this is a fib channel at 104. If we break below that, DXY is probably headed down to around 104. The Dow Jones, now again, as I just showed you, I mentioned this at the beginning of this video in Discord, and you can see how accurate this chart for the Dow has been. Notice we topped out here. We came back down as support, resistance, support. We broke below, right? We came down. This was resistance. We came down, we found support, and now this is resistance again. So if we get above 34,050, all right, that means we have more upside for the Dow. And I know that some indices don't move exactly the same, but typically if the Dow is going up, the NASDAQ, the S&P is going up, or vice versa. So pay attention to the indices. If you see the indices hold support, all right, at least the Dow, specifically this chart, hold above 34,000, all right, then we're probably headed up to a higher target of around 34,789. But keep in mind, just like I said, that ring that's coming up, right? There's the blue ring we cross, we pump. There's an orange ring coming up, we cross, we dump. As I mentioned before, even this chart right here, this ring, once we cross this ring with the Dow, you know, we started having a lot of downside. I think the same thing is going to play out on this chart as well. As we start moving sideways, again, it'll happen. If we get rejected at 34,000, we're going to start moving down to some lower targets. When we cross this ring, I'm expecting to have a lot more downside with the Dow. And of course, if the market's dropping, that means other markets are dropping as well. So that's why I'm using the Dow as my reference for what's going on with indices, because I've charted the Dow Jones and know where the support and resistance levels are. So we're at a key level now. So watch and see what happens with indices today. See if we get rejected at this point or go higher. But again, I just want to recap one more time. Do pay attention, because these are two scenarios I'm waiting to see play out. One, we drop down and break below 33,950. That becomes resistance. That'd be an ideal point to short, at least down to 32,445. Stay long from this point, all right? Until we break 34,000, I would stay long. And then again, your targets above to pay attention to are around 36,500 and 35,000, let's say 800. Again, it's at an angle, depends when you make contact. But again, that's why I would stay long here until we break that support. But again, this red ring previously, every time we hit it, that shows a potential top with downside. And this blue ring, we've never crossed it without pumping. And this orange ring, statistically going by the previous rings, we've never crossed one of these rings without getting a dump. So again, just want to make sure you have all this information. And again, if you do want to support me, and if you want to sign up for BitGet, that link's pinned in the first comment description. Watch this tutorial video if you want to learn how to trade. And once you learn how to trade in one exchange, you can trade on them all. This teaches you how to open a long, short, set a stop loss to protect yourself, all of that. And of course, everything US, Bing X, and CoinCat, just another option for you. If you do use my link, you do support me. And if you do want to get access to these live charts in Discord, you can sign up to the website. It's opticartcrypto.com. Guys, that's it. Trade safe, trade smart. I'm out.